Diggy, diggy hole. Diggy. I don't remember if I closed my front door.
Bowmaska Dog thinks you should do 20 squats.
Okay, well, I at least remembered to... There we go. I at least remembered to lock my door, so, yeah. So that's good there, but oh my god, I need to do 20 squats. Cookie! Oh my god, who wants my pecs? Hi there, Hendrix. Oh, there we go. So it was Hawaiian that did the Himbo cam. Big as DJ. Welcome to the stream. So Hendrix was first. Bone, Rudy, Dolt, Furry Cures, Hawaiian Pizza. There you are. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Happy. What day is it today? It is Saturday. That's it. Sorry, I had to work today, so I'm not like 100% all there with the work and what have you. Well, not with the work. Sorry. All right, I had to get out of work. I'm not 100% there with everything. All right, let me get my 20 thoughts. Made outfit today. How about no? How about no? I am a strong, masculine, and zebra. Okay, I gotta do 20 squats. Here we go. I kind of don't want to do it. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Alivrius wanted me to say final Grant Assy. Alivrius paid me to say final Grant Assy.
Lol. Also, why is it doing... Alright, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my gosh. 9. Avalon would not be happy with the attempts I'm trying to do right now. Hold on a sec. 9, 10, 11, 12. I haven't finished all my squats. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Thank you for the 20 squats, Bone. And thank you for the hydrate. Why did it play twice? I think I figured out why my TTS bot wasn't working with some of the rewards and what have you. But it's one of those fun things where I fixed it and broke it later on. Where's the TTS bot? There it is. Do not enable that. Save. There we go. Alright, so it should be good this time around because it's not the Twitch speaker that is responsible for it.
Quote 107. I just want my duck sucked. Is that too much to ask?
Yes, it is. It always is. Alrighty, so, hi there, Alvarez. And then we got, oh, hi, Gyro. Welcome to the stream. Anyway, we can tell how many times we've been first. No, not yet. I've not made that, like, a thing. I've not made that, like, a command to, like, you know, hit exclamation point first or something to be like, oh, you've come, like, you know, this many times first, the person that's done its most. Because I think one of the issues I think that is popping up in my head right now is the realization that I could probably get a command for, oh, you've come first this many times, but I can't create a top, you know, like a number one list, like a number one thingamadoogie. Because then comes the issue of like, oh, like, I would have to like scrounge through every single person that has watched my that is like watched through the streams or what have you to get a name, and that would be really effing annoying. So yeah, I'll figure out a way of being able to be like, oh, exclamation point at, and then it just, you know, grabs the user at the very least. So there'd be that one at least. Neat. 49%. So yeah. Fury, you shouldn't try to get here before him. You should try to get here before me. Well, apparently Bone like was just asleep for this one, but yeah. 69. That's actually, I still get a chuckle out of that one. All right, I need to get some, gonna get some things up and running because there's normally like a wait queue and what have you for Final Fantasy 14 at this hour. I do not remember my password for these kinds of things. No, I do not have my password for this. Goodness gracious. I have been doing all kinds of bad habits. Like, I know what I need to do to get fitter and to lose weight, but I can't stop going for, like, Uber Eats and such like that. I thought I tackled that issue, but I haven't. I honestly have not tackled that issue. I have just simply, like, you know, had to, yeah. Absolute, just bonehead. Alrighty, now what happens if I turn this on? Okay, cool, so it pops up in the background there. Whee! You limit ordering out for the weekend. I don't know if that helps. I want to try and do that. I kind of want to get into a point where I don't do it even like once a week or anything like that. The fuck? Why did that drop? But I don't know what happened. Like, I basically went through, I think it's actually been like 3 days in a row now, which is really annoying. I don't know where my brain has been in terms of, I don't know where the brain has gone for things like, you know, getting better for dieting or exercise and such like that. Like, because I had like moments, I had like pangs of like, yes, this is working out great, where like I made my meal or something like that. And then there was like one McDonald's went off in the evening. I was like, okay, I didn't need to do that. I didn't eat like basically at all yesterday because I was just running off the energy of the McDonald's last night kind of thing. But then I just ate McDonald's again once I got home that evening, and that happened again like today. Hey, where I had it as like a lunch, and I'm like, what the fuck, Grant? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Because it's like, I feel like at that point, it's like, it's not even because I'm hungry or something weird like that. I feel like I'm doing it because of like some either repetition or terrible habit. How the fuck do people get habits out? Like, I'm not looking to replace it with a different habit. I just want to get it out. It's really fucking annoying. I'm like 8 months away from turning 30, and I still don't get the normal shit out of the way, such as, you know, just having a diet like more in order. It's just terrible. Your brain go burr after this week? What happened this week? What happened this week, Hendrix? Anything fun? Actually, for everyone else, what happened this week? Anything fun for anyone else? Because lots of toes. Hopefully that's lots of toes and that you didn't lose a toe. I think it would be weird if you somehow, like, lost a toe. Yeah, lots of toes. Cool. So yeah, I'm trying to think, what has my week been like? Besides, like, it's annoying because like the first thing that's popping into my head is like, oh, what I've done last week is just like self-pity nonsense, which that's not a fun thing to get into. I'm trying to think of something else right now. I streamed on Wednesday playing Dead Space. It was either Monday. I got the mouse and the coaster that was gifted to me on Throne, which was really great. So now I'm back onto like a normal mouse. Complaining about the housing crisis, I think, that's going off in Australia. Well, it's not really a housing crisis to like the same degree as it is in the US back in 2008, but it's like, you know, it just feels like we're about to head into that direction. You've been looking at houses because the landlord wants to sell the home. One of the ones you looked at IRL had a big mold problem and leaky pipes. Ah, that's fucking bullshit. That's annoying. Fuck. I'm really thankful that I don't have to think about that, like, this year. Like, sure, my rent is going to go up in next week by another, I think, $10 a week. Like, sure, I have to deal with that kind of annoyance, but at least, like, the lease is, like, contracted until, like, January next year for me. So I'm just trying to have, like, a serious thought of, like, oh, you know, do I want to keep on finding places to rent and such, or am I going to have to, you know, speed run into owning a house and being able to work by making the travel, or try and work from home, like, fully from, like, from a new place to work? Because last year I just ended up in this place that I'm currently at, and it was kind of a mix of I wanted independence and I was like going further out of the city. I don't have to think about that kind of stuff this year, and I'm just trying to get I just want to get habits in. I just want to be an adult. I just want to be a better adult at this point. Get the food, like, you know, stop being so, like, you know, gun-ho about, like, hamburgers and such like that. Getting into a little bit more of like not a proper exercise routine, because, like, I don't like the gym. I don't like the idea of going to a gym. As much as I like, you know, treadmills, the rowing machines as, like, just sort of mindless, like, thing to do, I don't want to go to a gym for those things, and I'm not near a pool. It's like most of the ways I would like to try and lose weight is, like, not available to me. Why am I... God damn. Hang on. I know what's going to get me out of my, I know what's going to get me out of this slum. Just playing video games. That's how this shit works. I can stop thinking about the real world for a minute and keep on going with video games like Final Fantasy XIV. You still love the E? It is fun. I've not yet made it into a, I need to make it a thing where, like, I should probably make it so there's a, oh, actually, I should probably talk to you for this one, but try and make, like, shorter, because I want to do it as, like, a random, what's-a-mahoozy, I want to make it like a random redeem. Maybe I'll limit it to only when we're in, also, why can't I hear music? Nope, not the HUD layout. System. Listening position, master volume. Apply. There we go. And then let's apply 50. All right. So one of the ideas I have, Gyro, is
Furrycures 1221 paid me to say you're still a stinky himbo, zebra butt.
That's enough out of you. One of the ideas I have, I might need to, like, consult with you, because I don't remember if I kept, because I can't remember how much of the original, like, files and such like that I kept, but I have the idea of getting that, like, you know, zebra E thing, but just have, like, the WebP, or does MKV have a transparency layer? Just getting, like, a transparent variant and something like that. Why do I have a gun? It's my American right. As an American, a gun can always come into my hand at any random time. Observe. No gun? Gun. And then I just get rid of the gun, but then, you know, I put my hand to the side, and then, oh, look at that, there's a gun. Gun. It is always available to an American. It is always in reach. I thought you were Australian. I'm in Australia. I have my citizenship, but listen to this accent. The amount of shit that goes, like, it's just one of those cases where it's just a lot easier explain. Like, when people listen to me and shit like that, even when I'm in Australia and such, that they think I'm American. It just makes the world a whole lot simpler. There is no citizenship test that I have to take part in anytime people hear. It's like, oh, you're Australian, but you don't sound Australian. You don't like Vegemite. You think Nutella is fucking dumb. Next thing you're gonna say is Hugh Jackman is overrated. He's not overrated. I just want to establish that just like really quickly. Hugh Jackman is actually pretty cool, and I loved him in Wolverine. It's kind of funny that they got like a 6 foot something to play a Canadian that was like, you know, commonly short. Oh yeah, the Brick Man. Yeah, look at this Dragon Quest fella. He's kind of cute. I just have like this thing here where I can just do a random minion. Here's the other one. Okay, that's just a marble ceiling. Let's get rid of that morb. Okay, Bomboko. Let's... The Tanuki is excellent. All right. How do I tell it to... I don't... Never mind. All right. How am I doing? I'm doing relatively okay. No, I don't want to do squats. Like, I don't know why. I actually have, like, a legitimate just, like, thing in my head where I'm like, I don't want to do squats. Like, I didn't, like, I haven't had to do them since Wednesday, and it's like, I kind of don't want to do them anymore. I don't know, it just distracts from going through the game, having conversation and what have you, and it's like, they're not, yeah. But your butt? What about my butt? Tataru should be here any moment with our ship's captain. So, we're going by sea after all. Is Merylwib lending us our pick of the Crimson Fleet? Not exactly. You are right, in as much as we will be traveling by sea. Regrettably, it is simply not feasible for an airship to travel such a distance without impossibly large fuel reserves, to say nothing of the inevitability of running afoul of the Empire's aerial defenses. But then it is equally infeasible to sail in an Eorzean Alliance vessel halfway around the world without the Empire taking notice. Which leaves us with only one option. Ah, speak of the devil. Sorry to keep you waiting. May I present to you Captain Carvalane of the Kraken's Arms. Sup. Nice axe. I used to be a warrior too. Then I became a Death Knight. That fellow's his very ears. Yeah, they're like elf kind of characters or something. He's like 16, and that's his twin sister. I thought you wanted to tone it. Get a dumpy. Okay, valid. I did want one of those kinds of things. But after going through, like, eating McDonald's for, like, 3 days in a row and absolutely hating myself for eating it and such, I don't know why. I'm just in this weird realm right now where I am just low energy in terms of movement. I just want to go to sleep and hibernate like a bear for like several days, or maybe even like just 2 weeks, and just be like, no, I'm gonna stay in my bed, run up the gas and or electricity bill, and then just like, you know, sort of curl up and, you know, I don't know. This has been a really this has been a real downer of the start of the stream. I didn't intend for this to happen. I need, like, what the... Blah! Do I need a minute? I don't know what I need. The Kraken's Arms? Don't tell me you made a deal with pirates. I'm sorry, what's wrong with pirates? Greetings and salutations, scions. I take it from your comrade's tone that you no longer wish to proceed with our proposed arrangement? Not at all, Captain. Pray forgive my sister her outburst. She has ever been one to speak her mind. Thank you for the hyper himbo gyro. She has ever been one to speak her mind. I, on the other hand, am the very soul of discretion, as many well-respected personages would... What the fuck is that word? Personages. would attest, from the offices of the Admiral to the high houses of Ishgard. Ah, but where was I? Oh, yes. The Scions of the Seventh Dawn do indeed still wish to employ your services. However, it is important that you are aware of certain extenuating circumstances. Okay, I got that word, and then we're fading to black. Everything is so faint. Why is this so faint? Oh, that's why. And intent on securing passage to the Far East, you came to us, knowing us to be proud purveyors of said region's finest spices, which you steal from gods-fearing merchants out of the high sea. Whatever privateering the Kraken's arms may or may not engage in is strictly within the limits of the law, as set forth by our indefatigable... Hey, chat. Chat, how the hell do I, like, say... how the hell do I say that word there? Indefatigable. That's not a word. I refuse to believe that is a word. Indefatigable.
Indefatigable.
Indefatigable. Say it again.
Indefatigable.
Indefatigable. Sounds weird as fuck. Final Fantasy XIV shirt? Nah. Nah, I think I'm gonna keep going. Keeper of the Peace. More to the point, we are pragmatists. I see considerable risk in aiding your cause and negligible profit. Wait, negligible or I was not 100% there. Well, I for one think the captain has a point. The Five Seas can be extremely treacherous, and many a poor, unfortunate soul has to come to grief out there on the waves. Why, when we were in Ishgard, I heard the tragic tale of how the heir to House Durandare vanished at sea. Even now, nearly 20 years later, the poor count remains convinced that his son still lives and would pay a sultan's ransom for news of his whereabouts. Just a cool, creepy smile. Truly a tragedy for the ages, and a testament to the misfortunes that may befall us should we act without due consideration.
Furrycures 1221 paid me to say stinky. Try to shoot me now. Pulls out rifle.
America! Fuck yeah! Coming around to set the motherfucking day, yeah! America! Fuck yeah! Take that. America. Fuck yeah. You got a drum on that thing? I have 60 more shots in this 7-round clip. I remember there's a friend at work. We're just gonna call him D for, or actually, can I wonder, is there an issue of using people's real first names? Like, if they're just like, you know, a person in like a shadowy organization, like, because if you don't know where I work, and you don't know like the name of the company and all that kind of such, and I give you like a first name of, oh, I had like, you know, this, you know, dealings with a person and such like that. I wonder if that's enough detail where people can be like, oh, they're talking about this person here. There's no other
Furrycures 1221 paid me to say I shoot them tiddies. Charge, Butch.
Butch. I forgot, that's like one of the many, that's one of the many filter words I've put in, is like, you can't even say, like, you know, bitch in the TTS. It's just gonna go Butch. You're having too much fun with it? I appreciate that people can sink their monies into the TTS bot. I also hope the TTS bot isn't too, soft. So, yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Alright. Due consideration. But so long as you are prepared to abide the capricious whims of fate, I am willing to oblige you this once. That said, in light of recent rebellion, I trust you understand that I cannot deliver you to Doma itself. I can take you as far as Kugane in Hingashi. We will require time to procure sufficient provisions and make ready for departure. I humbly suggest you do the same. Yay! We're going to Stormblood! I think this is like, you know, the actual, like, startings of Stormblood. Suddenly, all those hours Tataru passed cavorting and capering at the Forgotten Night seem rather better spent, do they not? That said, I had intent to press the point more obliquely, and that there was something discerning about the pleasure Tataru took in making Captain Carvalian squirm. Yay, lots of experience, and we get a quick aim. Next thingy-madoogie. All of these are terrible arms and wares, but sure. Continuing on. I say, we should heed the captain's advice and attend to our own preparations while they ready the vessel for departure. Tataru and I will procure the necessary supplies. Alize, I should be grateful if you would use the time to brief Uranger on recent developments. You may also wish to review the relevant safety procedures in the event of the emergency at sea.
paid me to say feel like we need a dictionary for the vocabulary of this game.
Some of them just make no sense. But I feel like that's just normal issue with translation. Is like, they go for like really fucking weird names, and it's one of those cases where it's like, oh, they don't seem that weird when we're trying to say them. It's like, yeah, because most of the time we follow the A-E-I-O-U's rather than like or no so te. Who knows? How very prudent of you. Very well, I shall go and speak with him. What of Grant and Lise? I would like the two of you to return to Revenant's Toll and speak with our Domon allies. I fear we know too little of their homeland, and any information they can provide would be most welcome. When we have completed our respective tasks, we will reconvene here at the ferry docks. Agreed? Sounds like a plan. Let's go, Grant. Dun dun. Yay! Tales from the Far East. Alright, we head to Revenant's Toll next. You. This way. Hit some monies. Ba-boom. Ba-dun, dun, dun, da-da-dun. Alright, so... Wait, do we have a blue tick mission somewhere? Okay, not here,
Eating
but...
Hawaiian Kwanzaa paid me to say I want my children to have all the things I couldn't afford. Then I want to move in with them.
Man, I wish I could do the same thing. Too bad I don't have kids. Or a wife. Or a girlfriend. Or... like, anyone. Well, here we are. We'll need to talk to lots of people, so I think we should split up. I'll ask around at the House of Splendors. You take the Rising Stones, I'll meet you hereafter. Got it? Cool. Can't see this much. Can't get a thing from you. Enter the Rising Stones? Yes, please. Jump. 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 Actually, one of the things I should probably send a message to, where is... Alright, sorry, I just had to send a message because I was like, I keep forgetting to ask, I need better social skills. I do too. I'm gonna be real here with you, Hendrix. Every furry needs better socialization skills, and every person on the spectrum also needs better socialization skills. I am very fortunate that I had after-school lessons and all that kind of nonsense from my parents, so that way I was able to learn a little bit more about emotion and how people might be feeling, tone and what have you, but it's not really enough. I very much would like to have, you know that Will Smith film, like Hitch or something, where you basically had like this date doctor? That would be really nice to have. Or maybe a wingman. That'd also be kind of helpful, a wingman. Alright, Higiri. Greetings, Grant. What brings you to the toilet this day? What? You are for Doma? Heavens, you scions have shown us naught for kindness, but never in my wildest dreams did I imagine you would fight for our homeland. For 25 years we suffered under their tyranny, and then we spied an opportunity. The Emperor, dead. Garlemald in chaos. It seems the time was ripe. Beneath our Lord's banners we gathered and fought to reclaim our nation. But then Xenos arrived with the 12th Legion. It was over in an instant. Okay, cool. So, Xenos is a badass. Hozan. What is it, my friend? You look as though you have something to say. We are heading to Doma. That's exactly what I want to say. That you go to join Yugiri and Gozetsu in the fight fills me with such joy. Forgive my exuberance. You require information, yes? We of the Nage... Hang on, I'm gonna have to use the TTS spot again. N-A-G-A-E.
Noge.
Noge. We of the Noge clan have served Doma faithfully for generations. My ancestors held positions within Doma Castle, even. Now it is home to the Imperial Viceroy's witch and her host of men and magic tech. To think that there was once the shining symbol of our heritage, and the seat of dear Lord Kyne, has become a den of Garlean dogs. Okay, who's the last person to talk to? Did you set the rules for Kingdom Hearts 3? I have seen a few rules shared with me. I've not done a definitive list yet. It's over it, but for those of you who are wondering what in the world Furry Cures is talking about, I have in my Discord, in the general, like, thingamadiggy, a thread. So, either next Friday or next Saturday, I am going to be playing Kingdom Hearts 3, and I want to come up with some silly drinking rules. So it's like when I'm on the stream or something like that, and it's like, oh, this thing happened, better take a swig, or, oh, better finish the can, or something like that. So Furry Cures has been making a few rules so far, and they've been sharing it in the Discord, which I really appreciate. So far, the things we have seen are... Drink every time someone mentions an ingredient or a lucky emblem. I don't know what that is, but I hopefully won't get too many ingredients. Drink every time a Disney character says the name Sora, Donald, and or Goofy. I like this one. I like that rule, but I would probably adapt it where it's like, if they say, if someone's like, oh, this is Sora, Donald, and Goofy, I'm going to see that as like one occasion the Disney character has done it, because it's all within one line. But if they went, oh, this is Sora, and then Sora says, hi there, and then it goes back to the other, goes back to them, and they're like, so, oh, who's this, Goofy or something? Then I see that it's like, you know, two separate occasions, because basically there was like a break in their sentence structure / when they were talking. And then I got help from someone named Volvetta in a different server. Apparently they said if I wanted to die, I should drink anytime a cutscene that would be progressing in the plot is instead plugging Disney IPs. I feel like that's a weird one, because I feel like that's just mostly Act 2. Drink every time Sora is confused as to what's going on. I feel like this is a good one. I feel like anytime Sora goes, huh? Question mark or anything like that, that would be really good. Drink every time something is mentioned that you have to play any amount of spin-off games to understand. I feel like that one is a bit of a weirdy one. I feel like if they make reference to events in like spin-off games, then I think is a good one, because that's basically Dream Drop, Birth by Sleep, 0.2, Recoded, 358 over 2 days, and Chain of Memories. Like, those ones are like spin-off. So I got some good rules, but I would love to see some more. I want to see some diversity. Because I know 1 or 2 peeps have been, like, before I did the thread, they were like, oh, you should drink anytime they use the word darkness or light. And I'm like, that sounds like a trap. They already use it too many times in the, like, first few games. You are truly planning to travel to Doma? I don't know what to say. Forgive me. I shall aid you to the best of my ability. Ours is a beautiful land, nestled on the eastern coast of Othard. Along the banks of the One River, our nation thrived, proud and free, until the Garleans came 25 years ago. The river was our lifeblood, free to travel and to fish. But travel was soon restricted, and now the river belongs to no one. Or it belongs to none. Alright, and now we go back out into Reverend's Toll, because drink every time. So, I don't know how I feel about the repeating plot thing. Power. That might actually be a good one to do. Is like, oh, anytime there's like mention of power. I know anytime there's a mention of a title. So like if they say Kingdom Hearts or Birth by Sleep, Recoded, or yeah, if they say like a title, then I feel like that's a drinkable offense. Ah, there you are. Learned anything interesting? The older Domans I spoke with tried to teach me all about Far Eastern customs and the importance of formalities and politeness. I'd like to think Eorzeans can be just as stiff and stuffy as anyone, especially if Guardians, but anyway, did you know they eat with sticks? It wasn't all that hard, actually, or at least that's what I thought until they told me I was holding them wrong. And then when I spoke with the younger Domans, they just rolled their eyes and told me it was all a load of stupid old... Is she talking about chopsticks? Is she saying she's having difficulty, like, eating with chopsticks? Wow, what you learned sounds a lot more useful. Unless someone invites you for dinner, of course. I hope they do. Alrighty, give me these pants, because I'm gonna actually put them into my, Actually, no, I shouldn't have gotten pants, actually, because I already have people wearing level 60 shit. Fuck. Not without incident. Cool. Alright, next time around, I'm just gonna get the Heaven's Eye thingy-majiggy. Right.
Alivris paid me to say haha, silly Eorzean can't use chopsticks, eat with knife and fork.
I can eat with chopsticks, though. Can any of you guys eat with, chopsticks? Hang on a sec, I'm gonna open up the... Can you eat with chopsticks? Question mark. Yeah. Nah. Alright, polls up. Let's see how many of you can eat with chopsticks. You need to sleep now. Have a great rest of your stream, Grant. Not to worry, Hendrix. Thank you for coming along to the start. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you have a good sleeps. Damn, I want a good sleeps. Cookie for Jason! Hello. Right. No point waiting around here, is there? We should head back to Limsa Lominsa. Alphanaud says to meet at the ferry docks, I think. Oh my gosh, I have to, like, go all the way back there? Alright. Hit the return. Damn, that looks cool. That looked really cool. I'm glad that I would drink every time a Disney character mentions Sora's, but not Donald's or Goofy's name. Well, I already have the one where it mentions Sora, Donald, or Goofy. I feel like that's a good one. And I'm pretty sure you're the one that, like, you know, put that one in as well, Furry Cures. Alright, where the F am I going? This way? Yep, I'm going this way. I'm heading to the docks. Oh my god, there's so many people. It's weird to think that we've hit, like, 9 billion people on the Earth. I swear, there should have been, like... I feel like after, like... I don't know why, but because of, like, COVID-19 and such... Hello! I feel like with COVID-19, I thought there was going to be, like, a time period or, like, a year where our population didn't grow, it actually technically shrunk. But I looked it up, and it looks like as far as, like, you know, measuring population and such, there's not been a single year we have not gained, like, in, like, population. It's all been, like, at least 100,000, like, people or so gained. We got 3 people who said they were capable of eating with chopsticks, and only 1 person who couldn't. Wow, that person there, you're gonna need to practice. It's actually, like, a fairly worthwhile skill. Australia? No, the world. Like in the world, there's not been a population decrease, and I think it's the same for, like, every country, because it's, like, really big number growths as well. Like, sure, it's only, like, less than 1% of the world, like, growth over time kind of thing, but we're talking about less than 1% for 1 billion. Like, already, we're talking about, like, you know, millions of people coming into the world with, like, less than 1%. How am I going with the heat wave? Not all that amazing, I'm gonna be real with you. I am indoors with a fan running at full blast. My electrical bill was absolutely terrible. Over the course of 90 days, I have like utilized 1,140 kilowatts an hour of energy. I have like a $300 phone bill. I didn't make enough on the Twitch payout last month, so I'm hoping to make money this month. Alphanod, tell me more. You are returned, Grant. I trust you learned much more from our Doman friends in Revenant's Toll. How's work? Works meh. I'm just going about it day to day. There's nothing, like, exciting to share. To get Icy to say hello, you need to say hello first. What? What do you mean to get Icy? To get the Icy hello, you need to type hello first. It's not Icy that's saying hello there. That's Frank Walker from National Tiles. Like, hang on a sec. Do you guys not know who Frank Walker is?
Hello.
Hello. That's Frank Walker. Hang on a sec. So, I think it's really important that you guys know who Frank Walker is. Like, Frank Walker from National Tiles.
Hello.
Hello. That guy. Yeah. By the way, guess who unlocked 3 new soul crystals? I'm gonna take a wild guess that it's Alvirus. Because how are you going in the main quest line, by the by? Have you actually, like, progressed through that shit? Or are you still, like, hobbling around in different thingies? It's Alvirus. Alvirus is catching up. Alvirus is doing shit. Dun 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 dun. I am eager to hear all, though that can wait until we have left port. We will have time enough to talk on our journey to Kogane. Our spice trading friends have completed their preparations. Assuming you have completed yours, you may inform the deckhand that we are ready to depart. Yay! The Kraken hands. All set, lad. I'll see you to the ship if so. Yes, we are going to board the Misery. So you are now a ninja, a warrior, and a dragoon. Hey, nice work. Icy sounds like his hello. There is no... Wait. Hang on. This Icy. Sorry, I just realized you can't, like, hear him.
12 be praised. Or was I that...
Damn it.
Riange. Tell me you haven't come
Also,
all
what
this
is
way
with this
just to
really
see us off.
strong brightness?
Nay, my lady. Ere you quit these shores for eastern climes, I wished to share some words of seeming import. Look ye where the sun doth rise. See crimson embers, darkening skies. Look ye where the sun doth fall. See azure lost amidst the squall.
What? I don't speak riddles.
Well, that sounds suitably foreboding. Another one of your prophecies, I presume?
Of far eastern origin, aye. It is mine earnest hope that this ancient wisdom may serve to guide you on your journey. For what dangers lie in wait for you upon those distant shores are yet beyond my knowing.
A parting gift befitting your roundabout ways. Thank you.
I have more than words for you, my lady.
Oh, cool! The fuck is that? That's a weird crystal sword that...
It's beautiful. Is it for me?
What fucking class are you?
Though undeniably powerful, your ethereal blade taxeth you greatly in the wielding. Not so this rapier, which shall serve you just as well against all but the most formidable foe.
Neat.
Impressive. It feels as though it's attuned to my ether. I shall treasure it.
Good work.
Honored guests, say your farewells, for the moment of our parting draws nigh. A fair wind blows, and I mean to follow it.
Nice.
It would seem our ship is set to sail. Pray give my regards to Thancred and the others. And take care.
Damn, for a ship called Misery, it looks really cool. It's really big. I was expecting a slightly smaller ship, like a sloop. This is... Does it have a fucking Hercules beetle at the front? Why a Hercules beetle? Is that what they're called? Hercules beetles? Yay, we are now traveling a really long fucking distance somewhere.
A fine day, is it not? Fair winds and following seas. The Misery is enjoying herself.
Oh, yeah, I need to keep pressing
Nevertheless, it would not do for you to spend the entirety of our voyage above deck. Let me show you to your quarters.
Is it supposed to do that?
Not under normal circumstances.
Under normal circumstances, it's just supposed to be like rocking left and right. This is up and down.
Captain! You're needed on deck! Something queer's afoot. The winds died down, the waters went still, and all of a sudden, we were dragged off course.
Gasp, we still use the winds.
Dragged? By what?
A kraken.
Can't rightly say, sir. But some of the lads are muttering about seeing things in the water. Things that shouldn't be there.
Oh, for the love.
I reckon...
If you will excuse me a moment.
I reckon a kraken.
Actually, might I persuade you to join me? Loath though I am to admit it, I have a bad feeling about this.
Valid concerns. We shall help yous. Alright. Up we go. Past the gangplank. Hello, warrior. Odd. Most odd. Well, do you have any idea what's going on? No. As the man said, despite the absence of wind and current, the misery is somehow being pulled off course. Well, why not fire up the Ceruleum engines you have hidden below? An excellent suggestion based on knowledge you should not have. Alas, our engines appear to be malfunctioning for reasons that escape my engineers at present. I'm telling you, Captain, it's them things the lads saw. Things? I don't suppose I could convince you to attempt something more descriptive. An adjective, for example. Sea wolf suspicions and fairy tales, not more. But if you want to know, the things, which he is reticent to name, are the souls of deceased women said to lure sailors to their deaths. But preposterous. Yes, indeed. If it is neither the sea nor the weather which is reasonable, then it is probably a predatory entity of some sort. Perhaps a siren or some such. For all we know, it could be a fellow spice trader employing magics to seize and plunder passing vessels. Regardless, we have but one recourse, to let the current take us where it will and deal with whatever we find there. What a thoroughly pragmatic solution. Oh, and I am beginning to like you, girl. I assure you, the feeling is not mutual. Once we arrive at our destination, be it a vessel or an island or something else, Liz and I will remain with the ship to defend it in case of attack. Grant, I believe you would be the ideal choice to venture forth and deal with the cause of our troubles. Abso-fucking-lutely. Then it is settled. I know not what awaits us, but it will rue the day it reared us in. The Siren Song C is now available for regular duty. Awesome. Kind of don't want to do it. Like, I just want to go to bed. Just want to lay down. I think that's what I'm going to do.